started my analysis by the 4 hour. As you can see, 4 hour is uptrending, right? So you're having newer highs, newer highs, newer highs, then boom, this high here, and I consider it a break of this high down here, right? So the swing high, my swing high was from this low down here to this high up here, right? And since we overall we uptrending, I marked out this demand area by the 4 hour. Just remove this. Marked out this demand area by the 4 hour, right? So but if I were to take a 1 hour trade, I would be looking for a confirmation entry to take price to the upside, right? So once we get that, that would be the buy trade done, and the target would be the 4 hour swing high. But if we to go to the 15-minute, as you can see, by 15-minute we began downtrending, right? Forming newer lows. So we had the low here, which was tapped in and immediately broken, right? So if I were to fix this real quick, we had this low which was tapped in and broken, then we immediately retraced back into the range. So this could be seen as liquidity down here. Like a liquidity sweep pattern. And we have this supply area by 15-minute, right? So by 15-minute, the downtrend and swept liquidity. Now we're pushing back to this range. If I can get another confirmation entry, I could look to target this price action all the way down here or to this swing low here, this low down here, right? Because by the 15 range, we are within this high and this low. So by the 15-minute range, I could look to take price from either from this low down here or the 4 hour demand area, if price does allow me to push the take profit to that area. By EURUSD, we do the exact same thing. So we look for the swing. As you can see, we had this low here, then this high, then this low, right? And as price started uptrending before retracing back into the zone. So if we were to zoom in, right, we can mark out this high here because price hasn't made a full body close above this high. We had a weak entry. So this could be seen as a liquidity sweep pattern, and price returned into the range and pushed downwards, right? So our 4 hour swings from that high to this low down here, right? So right now we're within this range, and as we push down towards the swing low, we made this supply area here, right? So by the 1 hour, the supply area would be this tiny candle here, from here to here. We can also mark out these candles because price can still react from these candles and continue pushing down without tapping into our area, right? So by the 1 hour, we are simply looking for a trade down, so another confirmation entry towards the swing low, right? But if we to zoom down to the 15-minute, as you can see, we were uptrending, right? So we continued our pushing down. Then we didn't really break, but we pushed higher, consolidated within this range, then continued pushing up, forming newer highs within this range towards this area, right? Towards this area. So by the 15-minute, our range starts from down here, clone all the way to this high, right? All the way till this high. So if we're to mark out key areas, we have this demand area by the extreme. And we also have this demand area here. So As price tends towards that supply area by the 1 hour, what I'm looking for confirmation through these demand areas, either here where we can look to take price higher, or by this area. Most likely I see this as a break towards this area, but price could still respect it because it formed newer highs, and this was the last demand area that broke this structure here. So I could consider this a break of structure right here, right? So if we're to be patient, I'm looking for confirmation entry, either one of these zones, but most likely the zone by the extreme, right? Swiss franc, right? We had like this massive push to the downside, then we immediately started pushing to the upside. So if we were to look closely, we broke below, well, not broke, we retraced down, forming lower lows before we had this massive upward movement. So I can mark this as the swing low and the swing high, right? Could mark it as a swing low, then the swing high. So if we were to zoom into recent price action, we had a break towards the upside, then an immediate pull back down. So I could see this as a liquidity pattern. So right now, if I was focusing in a range, I would focus on this range from, just delete this, we'd focus from this low here. Can focus from this low to the high here. This is the area I'm going to be focusing on. So we have a weak candle below this low, and then we immediately pushed back to the range. So this could also be seen as a liquidity sweep pattern right here, right? So after that, this area was then respected. So when we had this candle, we immediately pushed back, forming newer highs by the 1 hour. So if we were to look closely, by the 1 hour, we broke above this low here, this high, right? We broke above this high and we began retracing back, right? So if I were to look at this recent demand area, I could zoom to the 15-minute, and by the 15-minute, I could look for continuation. So if I were to remove this and use the arrows, I could look for a break and then immediate pullback. Or if I see this pullback, I can look to take price from this low till this high up here, right? So my target can be this high here, right? And if price seems to be pushing further and further higher, I could target these supply areas. So the idea here is just simply to buy, and this is the most favorable trade because it's very simple. All I'm doing is just looking for a buy after the 4-hour zone was retested and broke above this low, this high by the 15-minute. So simply put, I'll be looking for buys by Swiss franc. By USDCAD, we are clearly bullish, right? So we had this high here, then we retraced below, then continued pushing higher before we broke structure and pushed towards the high, right? So if I was marking my range, we have this low here and this high here, right? And we have this high. So by the 4-hour, we have this demand by the extreme, and we can also mark out the last candles before the retracement. So before the retracement, so we can mark these and consider this order flow, right? Order flow. So if I were to zoom into 1 minute, 1 hour, we have this demand area by the 1 hour, which prices tapped in and immediately respected. So let me make this visible only by the hour. So If we were to zoom down to the 15 minute, right? If you zoom down, we have this demand supply area up here, and price has tapped into the supply area, right? So my idea when looking at this is, if price can continue pushing higher, so tap into this demand area, then continue pushing higher, I could look to catch an entry from one of these demand areas that will form to this high here. So we can target that high, or we can target the high by the extreme, right? So my buy idea would be from that high to that high. But if price disrespects this zone here and continues pushing lower, I could look for a confirmation entry, right? Till to the downside, and we can look to target this demand area. But if price can respect this demand area, we can look to push it higher towards the high. But if it does break below this low, we can catch tiny sell trades. So if it does do that, right? If it does do that, we can just zoom down to the 5 minute and look for entries from maybe one of the demand areas here to the swing low that would form, and we continue doing this. So as price continues to make newer lows, we simply look for better entries, and we continue doing this until it reaches this demand area. And once we're here, we look for buying opportunities to the upside. So we'll switch our trading style here and aim for um, tiny scalp trades for this downward movement from this supply to this extreme demand area. And the reason I'm considering this movement is because, as we can see, we've had this strong push to the downside, really strong push. And so if price breaks below this demand area and forms a clear low, we would, by the 15-minute, it would be a clear bearish trend. So we'd simply look for a trade from this till that, and our 15-minute would form the highest time frame. The 5-minute is where I would look for my entries, and simply put, I would be looking to catch a sell trade from these areas all the way to the 4-hour demand.